Question 11. Again, calling the Honourable Member for Douglas Central, Mr Thomas.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I beg leave to ask the Minister for Infrastructure, pursuant to his answer in September, what location options and feasibility issues are being considered in respect of the proposed TT access road and alternative traffic arrangement across the TT course to serve Douglas, Braddan and Onchan.
Again, calling the Minister for Infrastructure to reply.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Again, I thank Mr Thomas, the Honourable Member for Douglas Central for his question. I can confirm that 6 options were initially identified for crossing the TT course and 1 additional scheme for relieving traffic on Douglas Promenade, 3 which relates to the period of the TT. 3 of the options involve improvements to the existing TT access road, and 3 options that have been consider alternative access roads. These options are as follows. The first 3 for improvements of the existing TT access road. Option 1 is to extend and widen the existing access road from Braddan Bridge to a new junction on the A23 Braddan Road. Option 2 is to extend and widen the existing access road from Braddan Bridge along the Heritage Trail up to Fletcher roundabout. And option 3 is to extend and widen the existing access road from Braddan Bridge along the Heritage Trail to the hospital roundabout. In terms of additional access roads, the 3 options considered are as follows. Firstly, a new flyover from the roundabout at Saddle Road through forested land, crossing the TT course adjacent to Braddan Bridge and joining the A23 at a new junction south of Braddan Cemetery. Secondly, an underpass connecting the police access road in Douglas with Greenfield Road. And thirdly, an underpass at St Ninian's Crossroads connecting Ballinard Road with Ballaquail Road. In terms of the additional improvement roads to mitigate the wider traffic implications, the option that was looked at was a new bridge crossing Summerhill Glen at the top of Victoria Road to improve the traffic flow between Onchan and Douglas. Detailed feasibility studies have been undertaken in preparation for a policy review within the department.
Supplementary question, Mr Thomas.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and I thank the Minister for his thanks, and I also want to put on record how fulsome and precise that answer was. It's incredibly helpful. It's almost just shocked me. I really, really appreciate that, and this will be talked about now for weeks quite properly. My questions were going to be: has the Braddan flyover reared its head again, given that the Summerhill Glen flyover made it into a plan, and the answer that the Minister seems to confirm is it is there at least as part of the feasibility studies. And secondly, could the Minister confirm my understanding correct that the Department of Home Affairs might not be able to use Glen Crutchery for its blue light hub because we might be building an underpass up there for the TT access road, and St George's have got other things to worry about now?
Minister to reply.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I think the Honourable Member, thank him for his thanks, which are appreciated. It's important that we get these options that have been looked at out there, because it shows that the options are being considered thoroughly, and that we're thinking in a flexible way. Clearly, the existing TT access road is problematic, and I know that many residents who are having to use it find it very challenging during race periods. So it is important that we look at the options, and it's important that we don't constrain our thinking. Clearly, some of the options that I've identified there are quite radical and would bring some big challenges, and but it is important that we do look at those as options. I'd highlight that at present we haven't sort of taken this to the detail stage in terms of the accurate costs. So we are very much at the early stages, and in terms of the impact on the constabularies and the Department of Home Affairs plans, I don't think that the conclusion that the Honourable Member has drawn is necessarily true, but clearly we would need to consider what the implications, if we were to pursue the option, at St Ian's Crossroads, or indeed the option of the underpass connecting the police access road in Douglas with Greenfield Road, what impact they would have. But I think it's important to say these are still quite early stages, and we need to bear in mind this is still feasibility.
Supplementary question, Mr Quine.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, would the Minister agree with me that in order to be of maximum benefit to both the economy and the general public, any newly constructed TT access road must have the load-bearing capability to accommodate heavy goods vehicles and large public service vehicles? And would he also agree with me that should any decision be taken to augment the current TT access road, as he's previously described, then the strategic value of the Douglas to Peel railway line forms part of any such decision, and that the preservation of the permanent way would be enshrined as part of the undertaking?
Minister to reply.
Thank you very much. Thank the honourable member for Douglas South for his question. I mean, clearly I would agree that the maximum potential benefits are achieved by making the solution as universal as possible. So, from a first principles point of view, being able to accommodate HGVs and passenger service vehicles would extend the potential benefit. However, I would also point out that potentially they may have significant cost impacts as well, and what we need to do is find the most appropriate solution which balances costs and benefits. There's no blank checks here for this. It may be to support the preeminent visitor attraction for the island, but whatever solution we come up with has to pass the appropriate test of value for money and deliver the right outcome at the right cost. And clearly, the different schemes that we're contemplating have different profiles in terms of both costs and impact. And as we go through the process, it's important that we look at that properly. So we want to achieve the best benefit against the cost is what I would say. And in terms of the appeal to Douglas Railway Line, I mean, clearly that is a significant asset to the island, and indeed it's very recently been invested in as part of our active travel approach, and is becoming a very, very well used facility. So it would be, I would certainly be very keen to make sure that we didn't we didn't damage things that have value, whether it's for active travel or whether it's for the potential Douglas to Peel train service, which I know the honourable member is very passionate about the potential for that, although that's not its current use. It's an ex rail line. So these are all factors that need to be considered. We need to do a thorough appraisal, and there's a lot of work to be done, Mr. Speaker.
Supplementary question, Ms Edge.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to ask the Minister, because one of the options that he's talked about is Summerhill, and I just want to remind him really of what he stated in Tynwald when I said about this being in the programme for government, but then it mysteriously is something else that seemed to be taken away. But the Minister clearly stated when he interrupted and I did give way to him, he said he would just like to nail this once and for all. Your assertion is that this Summerhill flyover has appeared in the programme for government. It did, but it disappeared. As far as I am concerned, it is not in the programme for government. It is not a scheme that I am going to be supportive of, and I think we should just draw a line under this very clearly. So can the Minister draw a line under that today, rather than have appearing only weeks later in an answer to the Honourable Member for Douglas Central? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minister to reply.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I can draw a line under that, and what I would say, the question that prompted me to, or the statement that prompted me to rise to my feet, that Ms Edge refers to, was the statement that it was in the programme for government. It categorically was not in the programme for government. It is not in the programme for government. It was published as part of a document that the department put on its website with a 15-year Douglas Onchan traffic plans, which are published for Douglas, they're published for Onchan, they're published for Ramsey, and those are visionary documents. So that was the context, Mr Speaker. In terms of the Honourable Member's question, I can confirm there is currently no programme for the implementation of a flyover at Sumhill Glen. There's no timescale or detailed proposal for undertaking that work. It's mentioned in this answer because the question was what location options and feasibility issues are being considered in respect to the proposed TT access road and alternative traffic arrangements across the TT course. So that's the context in which I've referred to it in this answer to the Honourable Member for Douglas Central. It is in the category of additional improvement works. I think it's very unlikely that we are going to pursue that route because that doesn't have a direct benefit to the access to the TT. That was to the TT course. That was mentioned as a mitigation part of the solution, and I stand by my statements earlier in terms of my personal views on that particular proposal.
Two more supplementaries on my list, and two quick questions, two quick answers. That Mr Shimmons, then Mr Thomas, the original questioner.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. You might be hopeful, I think. First of all, I'd like to thank the Minister for two things. First of all, that this is problematic. It's highly frustrating for many of my constituents in Braddan and the wider constituency of Middle, and it's been going on for a long time. The other thing I'd like to thank him is that he will take account the needs of active travel users, so vulnerable road users, pedestrians and cyclists and others when looking at the TT access road improvements. I'd just like to remind him, though, of the previous Minister's commitment, which was made in Tim Moulton in October 2018, that the existing access road in Braddan would be widened and improved, so it would be a two-way road, and that would be in place for TT 2022. I just keen to understand from the Minister, is he walking back from that commitment that was made? Perhaps he could clarify. Thank you.
Minister to reply.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. It is problematic, and finding a solution that's both technically acceptable, environmentally acceptable, and delivers value for money. I hear the reference to the previous department minister's commitment, and I'm sure that when he made that commitment, it was made with the best of intentions. We need to look more widely than simply widening the existing access road, and make sure that if that indeed is the option that is chosen, that does actually represent best value for money and is the right answer. I think it's unlikely that is going to be achieved before TT 2022. The draft area plan for the east makes reference to this particular issue, albeit it's not an adopted document at this point in time. The need to improve the TT access road is recognised, and makes a commitment of addressing either improvements to the existing access road or an alternative TT access in time for TT 2024, which I appreciate is later than the Honourable Member has previously indicated. I doubt very much that the Minister, when he made those commitments, envisaged either the degree of technical complexity around this or indeed the COVID experience of the last 6 months either. So we are committed to addressing this. It does need addressing. Whether just widening the existing access road is the right answer or not, we don't know. That's what the feasibility study is there to assess. But it's not going to be by 2022, I'm afraid.
Final supplementary, Mr Thomas.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Can the Minister then confirm that this excellent feasibility work, options assessment, which is underway to help us identify the preferred location and design, is aimed to meet the target in the area plan for the east of 2024, not the inspector's report recommendation of 2022 or the previous commitment by the Minister? And secondly, can the Minister assure the public through this answer that the important strategic plan and area plan for the east protection for the route of railways, in particular the route from Douglas to Peel, will be respected during the feasibility assessment and the options appraisal.
Minister to reply.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Yes, to clarify timescales, it's hoped that the new or improved access will be operational for the 2024 2T race week, obviously subject to all the necessary approvals and funding. In terms of the constraints on the solution, we have constraints around all sorts of different aspects. The member's question refers particularly to the reference in the draft area plan around the former railway line, but there are many other constraints that all the solutions would have to work around, and in bringing forward our options we need to we need to work within those and work out what the best solution is, Mr Speaker.
Thank you.